How's it going, everyone? Mad Spartan here, and today I'm bringing you war number 12, final war of the season, make or break war for us. We either land masters or top of plat 1, still good either way. I did join war originally, like before recording, so I'm showing you guys the map now. I will be taking the aggressive regen Rintra, the rooted Wong, the conflictor Ebony Maw, and the boss Korg, which I was very happy about. I'm very thankful that my battle group let me take so many fights, and also the boss for the last war. It's good for content, and it's also good that I get to kind of lead us to finishing like that. So I was happy. It's an 8-fight war, I believe. So it was a pretty big war, hence why the video is so long. First up, we do have a Mantis. I was a little nervous about the Mantis, but I was especially nervous on the Weapon X EMP. I can take Weapon X with anyone, but overall, like, the fight could go south, and I don't have Titania to take them. So first thing I do here is I do Dex to get the precision buff, because if you don't have a buff, it does reduce the duration of future stuns. So until I get my placebo buffs, I will be Dexing. But it seems like halfway through the fight, I'm just trying to nuke her down as fast as possible. So as you can see, I do stun him twice, and then I realize that I can't do that anymore because her stun basically went away as soon as the heavy was about to hit her. So if she did throw a special, I kind of would have been screwed, but that fight ended quickly. Was super happy about that, already off to a good start. Next up is a Sasquatch. Nothing really much to the fight. That same thing happened again where I blocked a hit and took like 8,000 damage, like from the Wong. But I do screw up this fight. Originally, as you can see here, I do get hit. So now I'm already in a state of like defensive, because I did not want to screw up this early into the war. It's such a big war. So I was pretty much taking my time, refreshing the whiplashes, trying to get to around, trying to land the heavy first to get the increased, whatever they are, the increased charges. I will be throwing the SP1 to get more. And he did parry it, so I was a little nervous. He can't punish me, though, because of how much the distance was and how fast Quicksilver recovers. So as you can see, I am pretty much fully in control of the fight, pushing him to SP2, have the permanent slow on them, so Wrath isn't really going to be an issue. As soon as he throws it, I am dashing back a few times to gain extra charges. And I'm going to be throwing the SP2 because I don't want to get to the SP3. Not a big deal. It does some big damage, but it's more just to keep control of my power. And just like that, as you can see, almost 8,000. It was like 7,600 damage. I don't understand how these guys are hitting me that hard. The Wong did it too. I mean, I guess I would say because they're 7 stars, probably rank 2, but even with class disadvantage, like, that's a lot of damage. So I'm not going to be throwing the heavy here. I'm just going to be building it up naturally. With how long his SP2 animation is, I do get like a few dashes with that, and I'm pretty much going to be getting it now, trying to bait the SP2. As soon as he throws it, I know the game's over, hoping that he cooperates and throws it, and he does. So pretty much the game's over. Do a 5-hit combo, gain as many whiplashes as possible, refresh them, turn that into 80, and pretty much just dash back and wait for them to detonate. And just like that, 130,000 burst. But I lost a lot of health with Quicksilver. I was a little upset about that, so I had to use items, but it is the last war. Popped all my big boosts and all my health pots for it. Not a big deal. Gives me all off-season to build back up my inventory. Next up is Absorbing Man. I've never taken Absorbing Man with Quicksilver, but it is pretty self-explanatory. Nothing crazy to it. I usually use Diablo or Scorpion, and I was thankful that I didn't, like, go against my gut and like went with Diablo, because the placebo buffs and everything, it would have been just like that other war when he was on the first fight and just completely screwed me. Now the only thing, if I wasn't using Quicksilver, it would be a little difficult, even if I was using Global, because of the dexterity buff, and also when you knock him down you do gain a Fury, so that is 2 buffs if you're not using a Global that's immune to Dex. That gives him unstoppable, but, you know, you could just keep reapplying it with the debuffs, and also Quicksilver has a permanent one. I am going to be throwing the SP2 to maintain my power here. You see, I did detonate. I didn't do that on purpose. I was annoyed that I did that, but it's not a big deal. So right now I'm screwing up here. I don't even know if I'm panicking is the right word, but we do recover from the SP2 so fast that he couldn't punish me, so I was happy about that. So I have to gain back control of the fight. He did lose his Uru, so I am doing a little bit more damage than I usually would. Pretty much punishing his his special with the heavy, it not only gets him out of the Uru, but it allows me to gain my charges faster. So I'm going to be prioritizing trying to get to that terminal velocity. I don't have too many whiplashes, but it is enough, especially against a Mystic that I believe that they're doubled against Mystics. So pretty much the only thing that sucks is when they do detonate, if he is in his like Uru form, especially the Black Uru, pretty much gain nothing from it. And just like that, he did immediately throw his SP1 when the burst would have killed him. It's almost like the AI knew that he needed the resistance to survive. So I was a little annoyed about that, but as you can see, the fight is completely under control. Not a big deal. Throwing SP1s to try to just end the fight. I'm always petrified to block any of his hits because I always think this is the hit that he's going to do the big burst. Because I obviously have no idea how he works. And I throw like 15 hits into his block and he doesn't die. It was a mess. But that fight's done. Now this was the main fight that I was nervous about. I don't mind fighting Weapon X. I don't usually have a problem with it. But I know that if I have bad RNG, EMP is just going to eat me alive. So I do use the invulnerability because I know how I play. I always stay close to him like you guys saw when I fought the Weapon X boss with Titania. I'm always in his face, so there's always a small chance that I can get hit. So I have to make sure that I don't get hit there. And as you can see, pretty much I get bad RNG in the beginning. Like, I don't really land too many neurotoxins. I don't nuke them down as fast as I thought I would. And like, you think the fight's going well. And I mean, to be fair, it's not going bad. So as you can see, so many neurotoxins. Like, I am super happy. And the worst part about it is this was a rank 4 SIG 200 Weapon X. Like, I feel like if it was anything else, like, I would have been screwed. So as you can see, I am completely controlling this fight. But if anyone knows, my neurotoxins fell off right at the worst spot. So now I'm just baiting out Berserker, taking my time with it. Gonna parry heavy. Gain no bleeds, and now I have shocks on me, but I'm not nervous because I know that it's only one shock, so I'm not too nervous about it. But he does immediately retaliate, putting 4 more shocks on me, and I gain no bleeds on that heavy, so I'm just cooking away. I gain 1 bleed on that heavy, so I'm just like panicking here. I'm throwing my SP1. I know that I have a substantial life lead, so I wasn't too nervous, and I'm just hoping that he dies. I'm just holding block in the corner, but we did get that. I definitely don't want to do that again with Archangel. I might have to figure out a better option. I just don't like it. I don't like fighting him for too long. Like, I would have went with Quicksilver. It would have worked, but I feel like there's just too much to watch in the fight, especially with I saw an Alliance member like fight a Sasquatch with Quicksilver and he didn't reverse all of his regen, even with like having like 30 plus buffs. So I am a little nervous that I won't revert. Oh, he's also immune to reverse healing. So I don't even know if I'd be able to do it. I'd have to like pretty much nuke him down past his health bar. And as you can see, I did get the Unstoppable from Rintrah, and I actually evaded it, which was a huge failsafe for Quicksilver. I was so happy that I had that, and I made sure for the rest of the fight to get to 300, so he had the permanent slow, because that was a little scary. I was glad he evaded it. I was like, oh my god, what the hell was that? So I am going to throw the SP2 here like usual. I'm just going to be controlling my power. When he throws his SP1, I am going to retaliate with a heavy so I gain more momentum. And I always have to check the distance because Quicksilver not only covers a lot of distance, but he's super fast, so you might miss time. Like, you might add an extra dash that you don't need, and then the heavy will whiff. And as fast as he is, there's a good chance that I won't recover in time. So as you can see, I'm just building on my momentum. I don't have too many whiplashes. I'm kind of annoyed. I always like to be like 25 plus. So as you can see, I'm just cruising through. It's all I believe it's a 40% chance per hit to gain a whiplash. So I am doing pretty good. As you can see, I'm lucking out on that 40%. So I'm going to be trying to build up my momentum in the back. And I'm going to hopefully end the fight here. I was a little nervous at the aggressive regen. And also with like him rooting himself. And I didn't have nothing to worry about. It was a 300k burst. It was ridiculous. I don't even know how I did that much damage. But I was happy about that because I wasn't looking forward to that fight. I don't really like aggressive regen. Rintrah, I usually would have to use like someone like, I don't know. As much as I'd like Titania, she doesn't usually work. Now that she's the global, she would work. but in the beginning of the season, it was too hard because she was immune to everything. But I would use someone as if like Diablo or anyone that really has a way to handle the regen. But now with the global, it's a little more difficult, especially since they gain power all the time. Sometimes the 5 withers from the node aren't enough to reverse power gain. So you need like a champ that also does wither himself. And as you can see, I'm pretty much going to be controlling this fight all game. Gain my momentum, so I do have the permanent slow in there, so I don't have to worry about it. I always try to retaliate with the SP1 with a heavy, so I constantly have that increased charges up. And I do get rooted here. I do get rooted a few times, but it's not really that big of a deal. Pretty much just always watching the timer. Pretty much my eyes are just locked on the rooted timer. I don't really care about what Wong's doing. He does throw that SP1, and I will have to hit him with a regular hit because I was afraid that the heavy wouldn't hit him fast enough and I would get rooted. So I'm pretty much just taking my time with it, building up my stuff. I have 9 withers, so any type of power gain that he's going to get from his heavy is going to be reversed. So I was happy about that. I do get rooted, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to be dexing as if I'm in the corner. He does throw the heavy, which is good because of all the withers. He's going to be reversed. I do happen to get rooted again and then with the double medium, I almost get screwed. And I am on the 10th hit of Bubble Shield, so the next hit is unblockable. I do have to keep that in mind. But I do assume that he's going to die with this. I do try to hold block so he doesn't throw anything. And I was fully prepared to eat that hit with the invul boost so that the Whiplashes would burst and kill him. And just like that, Wong is down. So I'm feeling hot right now. And the next thing is Ebony Maw on Conflictor. Not a big deal, as most of the fights aren't a big deal. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that at a certain point... hold on. Quicksilver, I always forget his name. Quicksilver can parry non-contacts and also has a permanent slow, and I believe his slow works like Stealth Spidey's, where his slow also negates miss as well as evade. So it is like a double-edged sword there. It's pretty nice. The only thing is I do have to get to 300 before anything happens, and with one SP1 with the heavy, I'm right there because it's double. It does give you 300 literally on an SP1. I do spam the heavy twice, which was a little reckless. I don't do that for the rest of the... I maybe do it one more time. I don't usually like to do that though, because if they do have stand your ground, I don't like the idea of getting absolute massacred. I don't know if I popped the invul. I might have beat the Wong fast enough to keep it, but I don't believe so. So I'm pretty much just nailing into him in the corner here. Do throw that SP2, because I don't want any part of the SP3. Pretty much just nailing it here. I might even get to 50 before I get to an SP2, but I'm going to try not to. I'm going to try to spam dashbacks. And as you can see, and now I'm parrying his mediums. There is nothing to worry about. The Whiplashes do detonate. I don't control them, which isn't a big deal. As you can see, I think 60% of his health went away. So overall, we're doing amazing. Just got to take it slow. He is on his timer, so I do have to prioritize hitting him with his heavy. But hopefully we don't have to worry about that too much because I don't miss. So it's really not an ideal thing. I don't have to worry too much about landing the heavy, but I do like it because I don't like, eventually when he has his permanent timer and I get out of terminal velocity and I can start missing it again, I can kind of get screwed that way. Now this fight, I've taken Korg bosses all the time with Diablo. He is only rank 4, and after this fight, I might have to rank 5 him because it was getting a little nerve-wracking. I also didn't really play him correctly. I know that after you do the SP3 with all the poisons, you're supposed to keep refreshing them. And I kind of messed up and didn't refresh them in time. I do pop the Nullify pre-fight on there, so I can nullify not only the resistance buffs, but also the big damage when he throws his SP3 and gives him the 13 blank buffs. So I do all that to make sure that I'm doing damage. I am going to be throwing the the SP1 twice to gain vials to increase the amount of damage that the poison does from the SP3. Or I believe it's all your poisons, but I know for sure it increases your damage. So I am going to be canceling the animation on 2 to make up the pre-fight that I did to get into this fight, and also, gain some of the damage back. So I am going to be trying to get rid of that rock shield. The good thing about Korg is he is very super happy, especially when he's unblockable and unstoppable. I like to try to get him to the SP2. I can dex the SP1, but I always prefer the SP2. I mean, if I see that the damage is getting a little high, I'll start baiting out SP1s. But overall, it doesn't matter. I don't believe I throw the SP3 here. I'm going to be trying to get rid of the rock shield one more time before I throw it, because it gradually goes down by 1 every time he gains it. So I just kind of wanted to deal with it. Bait out these. Oh, hold on. Bait out this SP2 and then throw an SP3. The only problem is, which I was upset about, like I realize it now. I realized it towards the end of the fight. I did not play him correctly. I really had to refresh those poisons because it was getting a little stressful. But you guys are going to see that I don't refresh it by throwing the SP1 or the SP2. I don't throw... I try to get to the SP2, but by the time I get to it... I do throw the SP1. But I do cancel out the animation. I should have canceled it so that the poisons would pause and I'd be able to refresh them. But instead, I prioritized regenning because I knew that he was kind of eating to my block to get to the SP3. But now, as I'm looking at it, with 3 minutes left, I'm like, he's not even at 50% health, and I kind of thought maybe I overestimated how much damage the SP3 was going to do. I definitely should have thrown the SP1 and canceled the animation to refresh the poisons, but unfortunately I didn't do that. So now in my head, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do the most amount of damage, and I'm going to kind of keep spamming SP2s here, trying to get as many poisons as possible. It's really not working for me. The RNG is pretty good on the mediums. I believe it's a 60% chance to gain a poison on a medium, but I could be wrong about that. And as you're going to see, I'm just going to keep spamming SP2s, hoping that it works out. And it's getting a little stressful. Each SP2 is doing about 30k, so like overall, I'm on the right track. But I don't know if there's any situation where I'm baiting a special or anything like that, I'm going to be kind of in trouble. And as you can see, I do kind of screw myself here. He does throw a heavy, though, and I am able to recover from it. Accidentally, because that could be literally instant death. You could be stuck in the corner constantly dexing, and then he just keeps refreshing the unstoppable and the unblockable. So I was glad that I was able to punish that heavy, and I do it almost again because I'm trying to gain some distance, but then I kind of forget. That's why I always look at his charges before I do it. And I guess I was kind of trying to make up lost time. I mean, you can probably get 20% down in a minute and a half, but I was afraid of wasting any time. You know, if I have to keep baiting an SP2, anything like that, that literally would put me behind. So I am on track for it, but any setback, I get hit, anything. So I am going to be taking my time with it, but kind of rushing it to the SP2 because I don't like the idea of me timing out against this on a Master War. It was very stressful, and that's immediately when I was thinking to myself, I have to throw him to 565. There's going to be no way I'm going to be able to do this again. I mean, I would have to boost a little bit heavier, and if I play the SP3 correctly, I think instead of finishing it with like 40 seconds left, I really feel like I could have finished it with, you know, like a minute and a half left. If I kept refreshing those 13 poisons, like it definitely would have worked out. And just like that, my war is done. But by the time I'm voiceovering this, the war has ended. We did lose that war. Not a big deal. We did end up in Platinum 1, rank 6. So just like the other season, like we're right there. We did end up getting Masters last season, but we are right there, right at the doorstep. Pretty much going to be here for a while. You know, once we make a few adjustments, hopefully that's the push that we need to stay in Masters and not like kind of ping pong back between the two ranks. A lot of adjustments being made at the Alliance. We had overall a great season. You know, I think we all know where we have to improve upon. And, you know, I think it was a good season. I'm very happy with my performance. I mean, I did die 4 times, and I'm a little annoyed about that. And especially with next season, you know, I'm going to have a tough time picking who to use for attack. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting season just like this one was without Titania. But we're going to get through it, and like every season, I'm going to try to get that perfect season. But overall, it was a good season. I've gained so many subscribers in this season alone, so I appreciate all you guys who watch my videos. Going to come back to you. Maybe I'll make like an off-season war, just testing out attackers or something. But if not, you know, I'll see you guys when the next season starts. Opening war, going to try to figure out anything I got. And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.